Hey guys, I'm Jacqueline.
And I'm Marcella.
And we are going to be reviewing the Death Cure. So overall, we really did enjoy it. We had some issues with it.
Yeah, we definitely had some issues. Nothing like too major. I mean, we'll get into it, guys. We'll get into it.
We did enjoy it, but we had a lot of fun going to the movies and seeing this. Like, we got to see it with our good friends, Matthew V. Haynes, and Miss Milky Way, his sister, Amanda, and it was so much fun. We love hanging out with those guys. But,
yeah, we had a
great time going to the movies
and watching it.
Yeah, there was a lot of flailing and, like,
we
screaming in the theater.
In so many parts, and there was a lot of great scenes in this movie. And really amazing action scenes, which we're going to talk about. Overall, what would you rate this on a scale of, like, 1... let's do, I guess, star rating?
Star rating, I would give it a 3.
I would give it, like, 3, maybe 3.5. I don't know. I would have to see it again, I feel like.
Yeah. And on our scale from, like, 1 to 10, I think about 6.5-ish. And letter rating, I'd probably give it a C+.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was good. Don't get us wrong. We obviously, we enjoy the Maze Runner movies. It's just, this movie, I felt like, it was heartbreaking in some ways, but it was also necessary, and there was a lot of loose ends, I think. Like, you did get the answers that you were looking for, but we had some issues with the ending.
I mean, in general, we read the Death Cure book, but I read it so long ago that I don't remember it, honestly, at all. And I didn't look it over before going and seeing the movie because I didn't want to, like, compare. So I was happy that I didn't really remember anything. I remembered little things, like, well, I remembered big things, obviously, that happened, like death, like, who died and stuff like that. But I didn't really remember, like, actual, like, things that happened throughout the book.
Yeah.
So when I read The Death Cure, I wasn't a fan on the ending anyway. So I knew that if they did it, like, if they did the ending like they did in the book, I probably wouldn't have liked it. So, I mean, you have to think, though, in this kind of world, it's so hard to end this kind of series with how much destruction is in this world. And, I mean, literally, the world's destroyed. With a dystopian like that series, it's usually really hard to end, and it's hard. It really is.
I will say, though, if you have not seen The Maze Runner and Scorched Child, I really recommend watching them or rewatching them before going to see Death Cure, because Death Cure jumps you right into the middle of the action. You're just thrown back into this world. There's no explanation to the previous movies. Like, there's no, like, quick, like, summary to lead you back into it. It's immediately in an action scene, and it just flies. And I had not really remembered Scorched Child that much, so in the beginning I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, but I feel like...
But then I was fine, and you pick up on it.
Once it got into the actual plot and stuff and what was going to happen, it was fine.
Exactly. But I think that, I mean, the beginning scene was freaking awesome. It was so, so cool. It was, like, really, really cool. It was very action-packed and a lot of fun, but I do wish that I had binged Maze Runner and Scorched Child right before seeing it.
Or at least Scorched Child.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's really all we're going to say to the non-spoilery part, because now I just really want to talk about the movie. Yeah. The whole big plot of this movie was to save Minho. That was, like, the big thing that we were leading up to, and ultimately, you know, finding the cure at some point was another big thing. But we had to save Minho, and right away it was so cool, but also really terrifying watching the scene with Dylan. And when you had Thomas, he was on the truck, and he was going onto the train, and it was like, oh my god, if you guys remember what was going on, Dylan's accident and stuff. So that was like, oh my god, it was very nerve-wracking seeing that. I thought it was really intense how they had, like, they lifted up, like, the one section, and they were trying to find which one Minho was in, and then it ended up that he wasn't in that one. It was just like, no, like, oh my gosh. And I thought that was really intense. I do love when movies throw you into the action, but in this one, since I kind of wish that I had, like, a little, like, second to breathe, but it was a really cool opening.
In our opinion, we were talking about this after the movie with Matthew and his sister.
Yeah.
We think that one of the best relationships in the Maze Runner series is Thomas and Newt. They really, their dynamic together is the best, and especially in this movie, it was really emotional because you have that scene with them, and then he says to I think it was Newt that said to Thomas, right? He was like, we started this together, might as well end together.
So many feels, so many emotions.
We kind of like looked at each other, we're like, oh gosh, because you know it.
You know.
We knew it was coming. oh my gosh. Oh, that scene. I really do love their friendship though.
I really do.
So heartbreaking, but
I loved the scene when they were arguing when he like had him up against the wall and he was like screaming at him.
Oh my gosh, and their faces were
their
like,
faces,
literally
I was like,
this,
whoa.
Like literally like that, like so close.
Felt bad for Minho this entire
movie. Minho's being
just
tortured
the whole
literally
movie. I mean, until like the end, things got better.
When he comes, when they go and rescue him, initially rescue him, he comes in and he saves them. Remember that part?
That was great.
I love that part.
I love that scene. So they did give him his moment, but
I felt so victorious because literally you're watching him the whole movie being tortured.
Yeah, I did like the scene. I thought it was really cool when he was versing Teresa. I thought that was insane when they were like in that room, and then he broke out of it and it was his plan and they were fighting. I thought that was so cool. But
I literally felt like clapping though when he called her a traitor.
Yes,
Minho. Thank you.
Yes. The scene though when he was the first scene that we really get of him being tortured and he's put into the maze again. We were like, what is going on? That was a crazy way of showing it visually. It was like, what is happening? We're back here right from the beginning. They put him back in the maze and then it ended up being just a simulation.
Those simulations were really intense.
But it was intense and I felt so bad for Minho the whole movie. And so...
Well, it's complicated though because Wicked in general is complicated because
I know.
Obviously the whole line Wicked is good. Because in the end, like... They were doing what was necessary for the whole world.
Exactly.
Even though they were torturing and testing on these groups of kids who were like immune, it was to save the whole world from this virus.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's like it's really complicated. And
that's what I do love about the Maze Runner series. In general, it's very complex. I think that's one of the things that that James Nasher really did a great job creating. It's so gray, like it's such a gray area between good and evil and what is good and what are the right decisions to make in times like this. And I did enjoy though that they touched upon that because you get to see that scene when Teresa's with the little girl that's like a crank and she's trying to find a cure and then eventually she ended up dying anyway because they can't find a cure. And then but still, like, having that moment, that scene in there, it kind of showed what it was all about. It was for the kids in the end, you know? They were just testing them and trying to find a cure.
It brought on, like, a different side to Wicked. I kind of, like, looked at them a little differently with those scenes. Yeah, that's a good point.
I love the scene when they were in the truck, and it was Thomas, Frypan, and Newt, and they were in the truck and they were going through the tunnels and then the cranks were there. That was so creepy when they were up against the window and then eventually the truck turned over. It was so cool.
And they're running. Oh my gosh, that was intense. That was literally like we were like freaking out. That scene was a good scene.
Like, that scene.
One character that I actually enjoyed in this movie who I didn't really care about in previous movies was Brenda.
Yeah.
I thought that they gave her character a little bit more in this movie and, you know, she had really vital roles in this movie.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, I love the scene with the bus.
Yes, that was another great moment in the movie.
With the bus and then literally, like, she was in charge of all these kids.
Yeah, and I feel like from what I remember in the books, I remember her relationship with Thomas being a little bit more important. And I don't know if it was just...
It was a little bit more like... I feel like they imply at the end of the Death Cure with that they were going to end up together. And it really was just, like, one-sided.
That's how I felt
It was just on her side. Because Thomas was all about Teresa in this movie.
And you could tell that she really liked Thomas. That's the impression I got from her. But you couldn't really tell that Thomas was into her, you know? So I felt more of the reciprocation in the book, I feel like. I don't know if that was just me, but it's what I do remember as I was reading. I remember kind of shipping them, too, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that they didn't do them, though, like that, because I feel like this movie, you don't really need that.
It wasn't needed.
It's about so much more.
It really wasn't needed.
So it was fine that they didn't, like, you know, make that into, like, this big thing.
Gally was alive when he came back. I loved his entrance into it. It was so cool. I do wish it was a little bit more explained because... Yeah,
that was one of the issues that we had because...
It was so quick.
Gally being there was just kind of like, okay, that's just, he's there.
That's alright.
And that's fine for people who have, like, who know what's gonna happen and stuff and have read the books, but... for people who don't, I feel like that was not explained, like, at all.
It was explained, like, he said what happened, but it was so quick, and they just kind of brushed it off.
I feel like it was explained, like, very quickly, exactly. I feel like we should have got flashbacks and actually showed us what happened, because whatever happened, I'm sure it was
really cool.
Yeah, exactly. It was worth showing, and I don't know if it like they didn't have time to show that, like, what happened to him, but I feel like for his character they should have, because he was a really big part of this movie too. He was helping them, and all of his scenes with Thomas and all of it, really.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, the scene when Thomas going after him was really, really hot.
Yes, when he beat him up, that was great. That's what his entrance was really cool, and he is such an interesting character, and he really was such an essential part of the rescue mission, and he was there for Newt and Thomas and to help get Minho, and I really enjoyed his character arc in this movie. I really did, and I do wish we got that flashback. I love the scene when they get Minho and they jump out of the glass building. Like, we have a reaction to that clip that you guys can watch, because we were screaming at that scene. In the theater, we were dying too, because then they fall into the water, and then we get this great shot of Wet Dylan sticking up the middle finger. That was hilarious, and I really love that they threw that in there to kind of, like, lighten the mood. I thought that was great.
So now we have to talk about the Newt's death scene. I thought that it was really well done in the sense that it was emotional, because obviously, guys, you knew it was going to happen if you read the books, and
it was fantastically acted. The acting in that scene was incredible,
and I'm not mad that Newt died, because I knew it had to happen, because it was essential, and I probably would have been actually mad if he didn't, because it kind of needed that, because in a movie like that, the world is so bad, you need people to die and to give the movie, like, weight and stuff like that. But the way that it happened, I felt like it was better in the book, because in the book it's different, because he gives him a note, like, telling him that he wants him to kill him, and in the movie it was kind of more just like, because Newt was, like, with them more in the movie, he didn't, like, leave and go stay with the Cranks, and in the book, Thomas shoots him with the gun, and here it kind of felt like, to me, that it was almost like an accident.
It felt very accidental.
Not like an accident, but it felt like, to me, like Newt did it and not Thomas. I felt like it was kind of like Newt helped him, like, stab him in a way. That's what I mean. Like, because it kind of was like, at first it makes you think that Thomas gets stabbed, and then you realize it was Newt, but, like, it didn't seem like, to me, like Thomas was, like, killing him out of mercy, or because that's his best friend and he wanted to do the one thing that he asked him to do. I felt like it needed, I don't know, I feel like that should have been, I guess maybe they didn't want to make it too brutal with Thomas killing him, but, like, I don't know, I felt like that should have been done a little bit better.
They made it very dramatic in the sense that it was, oh my god, Thomas just got stabbed, and then you realize it was Newt, but the way that it happened was so quick but drawn out in some ways.
They also made it more violent, I felt like, because he was, like, attacking him. Like, I don't remember if that happened in the book, if he was attacking him, but I just remember him saying, please, Tommy, please, and then he shoots him.
He did say it, though, in the movie. He did say that, but it was different. The whole movie was different. It was different. So I think that,
I mean, I thought it was really well done acting-wise, and I felt the emotion, so in that sense, it was really well done. I just thought that it came off like it wasn't, like, Thomas doing it, so that was my only issue with that.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking, though, to see Dylan crying like that, and how heartbreaking it was to shoot. I'm sure it was tough to film that scene, but so it was a great job, and it was very intense, but just the way that it happened, I think that they could have went about it differently. We have to talk now about Teresa's death, which should have been more of a sacrifice.
Yeah, so this death, it was done way differently in the books. Like, those are really the two things that I actually remember from the books, because those are, like, the most memorable to me. I don't know if she, like, pushed Dylan into the ship, and, like, knowing that she wasn't going to be able to jump on. It seemed like, to me, like, that wasn't, like, a sacrifice. I mean, I guess it was just in a different way, but I don't know, I feel like in the book, her death was better and more, like, redeemable. I felt like this wasn't as redeemable, in my eyes at least. That's what I felt. I was kind of like, when she fell, I was kind of like, are you kidding?
I still didn't like her.
Yeah.
I still didn't like her.
That didn't make me feel anything. I'm trying not to compare, but that's That's one of the big issues that I had. Yeah.
Prior to that, though, I love the scene with Teresa, Thomas, and Jansen. That was another one of the best scenes in that movie. I loved the scene when, you know, you have Thomas is injured and it's like everything's going to hell.
He gets shot.
Yeah, it's just really, really bad. But then he takes the thing and he throws it and he lets out like the cranks and they attack him. I loved that. That was so great.
Yeah, all the scenes with Jansen and Thomas were really, really well done. Those were one of my favorite parts of this movie, was those scenes with them.
Yeah, the best relationships I think were actually between Thomas and Newt, and then I loved Thomas and Jansen scenes. I thought those were so intense, and obviously, you know, that actor, he's on Game of Thrones, you know, but he's just such a phenomenal actor, and to see him with Dylan O'Brien, it's so cool, and it's like, oh my god, Stiles is fighting Littlefinger, like, it's really cool. Yeah, I did like the note that we got at the end. I thought it was really sad, but again, the ending felt a little bit cheap in some ways, but really, how do you end a series like this? So they had to really do that.
I mean, that's how, like, I felt like that when I finished the book, too. I was kind of like, oh, like, really?
Yeah.
But exactly, with that kind of world, it's really hard to end it. Yeah. And I mean, the whole thing was like, they're gonna start a new life.
I did think, though, on that stone, when you had the voiceover from Newt, and I love the voiceover. Oh my gosh, it was so sad. But you see Thomas carving in Teresa's name and not Newt's. I felt like he should have been carving Newt's at that moment, but I guess he was carving Teresa's to kind of show that he moved on and he did forgive her in that way for betraying them ultimately at the end.
Maybe.
But I think that it was misplaced. Yeah. I feel like maybe they could have
had Teresa's name, like they could have showed it already carved and then well, they had Minho
I know, but they should have had the two of them there together, carving it together. I think they should have done something like that. I don't know.
That's just kind of like a little.
That's like a little
nitpicky thing. Yeah, that wasn't like. That wasn't our biggest issue, obviously, but that was still something we noticed.
I like seeing Kat in this. We love seeing Kat from Shadowhunters. That's really cool. Clary was there, but she had such a small part. She had like a cameo in this one. She was more in Scorched Isles, but that was so cool to see her sitting there next to like all of them. Yeah, those are really our thoughts. We did enjoy it, but it wasn't like the best. I think the best one was still The Maze Runner, but then I think this comes right next to it. I think this was better than Scorched Isles.
Yeah, I think so too. Let us know what you thought about the movie, what your favorite parts were, if you had any issues, if you agree with us, if you disagree with us. Please don't hate us.
Please don't hate us.
And if you enjoyed this review, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more movie reviews.
You can also follow us on Twitter, Snapchat, and Stardust. We are at City of the Fields.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching. Bye!